Over the last year or so, I've received quite a few requests from people asking me to review a particular boombox. And it's often under different brand names, sold in different countries, supermarkets, etc., Amazon, but it's always the same device. And I do wonder if these people who requested me to look at it because they're hoping it's going to be a good one, or if they just expect me to pull it apart and say it's rubbish. I was reluctant to get hold of one of these from the beginning because, well, first off, it was being sold, I think, in Germany in Aldi under the Medion brand. And I thought, well, I'll wait for it to turn up in Aldi in the UK and pick one up then. It hasn't done so far, or if it has, I've missed it. And over in the UK, it's like £190. That's the only one I can seem to get hold of. And I'm thinking that's a bit much to spend on something that I know is going to be mediocre to poor. It's never going to get up into good. And it sounds defeatist, but there's a theme to these things. And in case you don't know, here's how it works. There's a company called Leotech in China, and they're the people behind most of these boom boxes that you see for sale in various supermarkets and things. They'll come up with an interesting looking case, and then they'll say, right, we'll get a cassette deck from this company that's still making them. We'll perhaps get a radio tuner from these people, a Bluetooth receiver from these, amplifier from another, speakers from somewhere else. Put them all together in this little case they've designed, and then they'll sell it off to various different companies with whatever brand name they want stuck on it. Anyway, I got it because I thought, yeah, let's just have a look at it. But, you know, temper your expectations for this and every other one, because we're in this situation now as this is what these things are like. Now, people are going to tell me about the We Are Rewind boombox that's coming soon. And yeah, they're probably making an effort to make a better quality one, and it costs more as a result. But still, they're not in-house making cassette decks and things. They're bringing them in from various other people, and maybe they're speccing them up to a higher quality. But still, it's the same old components. Let me show you the one that I've got here, though. This is the one that everyone wants to have a look at, probably apart from me. But hey, public service. Let's have a look. Okay, that doesn't fit on camera, does it? Let's go to camera 2. Yeah, there we go. Right, so yeah, you can see this one's branded up as Roxel. It's the Roxel Camden. Irrelevant information. It's a Leotech boombox, branded up as whatever you want. The Techmoan boombox. I wouldn't put my name to something like this. I'd be embarrassed, but hey, you know. So what have we got? Retro boombox. As soon as anything says it's retro, put that in the wheelie bin. Anyway, retro boombox with DAB radio. We're in the UK. Digital radio here is digital audio broadcasting, and in other countries you'd have different specs depending upon where you went in the world. You go to Leotech and say, right, I'm going to sell this in the US, and they go, right, we'll stick an FM radio in there, then we won't use the DAB supplier to send us that little circuit board. Anyway, DAB radio, CD and cassette playback, it says. Hold on. No, it's got a record button I see on the picture here. So I think the reason people want me to review this is because it kind of looks exciting, and that's the whole purpose of these things. They're supposed to kind of play on that memory in the back of your head saying, oh yeah, I always wanted a really big boombox when I was younger, and look at this, it's only 180 quid, or probably less depending upon where you are. But yeah, it's basic components put together in a box to attract people to buying it, and it's not going to be good, but it'll perform its function. I'm sure the radio will pick things up, the cassette will play, Bluetooth will receive Bluetooth. I mean, it's not like it's fake, it's just not going to be very good, is it? Okay, so looking at the box here, you can see there's a silver one on this side, and over on this side we've got a black one, and just want to read through these specs. Bluetooth 5.3, CD/MP3 player, CDR, CDRW compatible, cassette tape deck with auto stop, soft eject and recording, DAB plus radio reception with 30 preset stations, analog FM radio with manual tuning, playback of MP3 files from a USB stick or SD card, LCD display, redundant term, music output 2 times 10 watts, two-way speaker system, X bass, treble, bass equalizer, telescopic aerial, blah blah blah. It's not inconsiderable in its weight. In fact, it mentions on here it's 6.1 kilograms. Okay, well, since I got it this way around, we'll have a look at the back first. power switch here, mystery socket in the middle that doesn't exist, AC input, I presume that was DC or something, and then we've got the battery compartment in which we have our power cable, and that, according to this, takes 8 D cells. So there you go. I think that's everything to see here apart from the antenna at the top. We've got the handle there, and I notice that handle feels like it's on the wrong way around. The only reason I say that, it's kind of soft movement to open it, and then when you close it, it's not. I don't know. It's fine, but yeah, I think I would have done the kind of dampened bit in the other direction. Doesn't matter. Let's spin it around. That's neither here nor there. Okay, now it's feeling less heavy now. I think the packaging was doing quite a bit of the heavy lifting, so to speak there. Right, what have we got here? Well, fast forwards on. Let's just stop that. Okay. We've got the tape holding down the CD cover and the cassette here, so let me just remove those. It's not pretty, is it? I mean, I can see what they're going for, but there's just something a bit off about the fonts and the overall design of it. But yeah, all right, okay. I mean, it is what it is. Let's just open this up. Yeah, there's soft eject and then there's almost broken eject. Let's just get that down there. Of course, to do soft eject, all they do is put a little bit of grease on the plastic. That just stops it from moving quickly. We have our CD protection cover here. Remove this before use. Yeah, obviously. Oh, hold on. Oh, didn't like that. Yeah, you don't want to force that too quickly. Okay, so the cassette deck, same thing. Usual mechanism in there. We'll have a look at that in more detail as well in a minute. And then we've got our selector here. Yeah, I mean, it feels like something that costs as much as this does. It's functional. Treble and bass, those don't feel bad. Put them both in the centre position. They don't have detents on those, so it's just down to you. Volume is on minimum as well, so we'll pop that up a little bit, ready to go. Down at the bottom here, we've got mic 1, mic 2 and echo. I mean, that's all karaoke stuff. Micro SD, USB, auxiliary, input, headphone, output. I mean, it's got all the bits, hasn't it? Not necessarily in the right order. Oh, single mic up here. Kind of little fake mic grills in the corners there. Metal grills on the front. Is that slightly at an angle? Looks it to me. Looks like the R is slightly lower than the L. Like it should be slightly rotated, unless I'm just imagining it. All right, well, that's enough of that. I mean, these VU meters, utterly useless because you've got no way of adjusting the recording level input. The reason you have VU meters is to get your recording level right. Well, there's no recording level knob on this one, so purely there for show. As you'll know, I'm not entirely against the idea of having things for show, but it's worth mentioning that, of course. Right, we'll plug it in and see if this thing sets on fire. Okay, so we're plugged in. I haven't switched it on at the back yet. I just wanted to show you something first. Inside this CD cover here, you'll see the CD mechanism is on springs. There's 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. Now, that's a little bit unusual. And I was wondering if they're there because it doesn't have any kind of anti-shock memory in this. It would be odd for it not to have, but I haven't seen a device like this put its CD mechanism on springs before, so okay. And then the other thing is, if we have a look inside the cassette deck, you'll see the telltale blue permanent erase magnet on the left there, indicating that it's not using an electronic magnet. And if we look at the head, you won't be able to see this on the camera, but I'm just checking, and that is a stereo playhead. Wonders will never cease. Okay, so I've got a stereo cassette deck with a permanent erase magnet. Not a good thing for making your own recordings, but not uncommon to see on an old 80s or 90s boombox either. So it's certainly keeping to the theme. I don't know if you can make out there at the bottom of the playhead, there's a white wire that's either holding on by a thread or it's not holding on at all. I just need to find out. Oh, it seems to be attached. Yeah, okay, never mind. I've just noticed something else. I don't know if you can make this out. You perhaps can see that there, that little line going across. It's not a scratch on the plastic. In fact, that plastic's rough as well. But no, I think these are little bits of glue that have floated around inside, or at least got stuck to the inside of this plastic window. You can perhaps make out those two there. Look a little bit like cat hairs. Yeah, a lot of attention to detail. Okay, time to switch it on. Right, so here goes. We're on. So let's go to DAB radio first of all, or FM as well. And how do we select between them? It's over here, so that's FM stereo. Get the antenna up and see what we can pick up. Turn it up a bit. What's this? Oh, that's the volume. Look at the bottom there. U06, up to higher volumes. Is that supposed to be a V for volume? Looks like a U to me. Anyway, never mind. Let's turn it on to a different station. It's supposed to get the best reception somewhere around about 102.4, so we'll have a look for that one. Oh. Yeah. Ah, nearly. Yeah, very kind of digital tuner in the sense that you're either on a station or you're not. There's no kind of build up to it. You're either picking something up or you're getting distortion. Ah, there we go, finally. I'll just turn that down because on the display here it did say stereo then for a second, which it's not doing now. Hold on. There we go. Right, so that's your stereo indicator. All right, let's go on to DAB and try and tune that in. We should get some better reception on that. See, it's scanning for radio stations here. We're up to 40 odd, so it seems to pick things up. But I know from that little Nixie radio that I reviewed recently that the fact it can pick stations up doesn't mean that they're something you'd want to listen to, given the distortion. So we'll find out once it gets to the top of this, but it's picking up more than that did. So I think we're all right. I think we'll do okay here. And of course, this is DAB plus, which they have to be if they're sold now. You can't sell an old DAB radio, which means that you could tend to have less breakups on DAB plus stations. So let's just go to a different station. Now, how would you do that? It must be down here, mustn't it? There we are. Scan, down, enter, up, menu, and info. It'll be the CD controls. Okay. So at the moment we're on Absolute Noughties.
Absolute Radio Noughties, where later today you might be winning over £500,000. Keep listening to find out how you can do it, because lines are going to close later on. So make sure you're in the draw. Everything you need is coming up before one from the... Thunderbolts on your tongue. And a 200% chance of mouth-watering taste quake.
You know, in the past I've been demonstrating radios on things and people have complained about the particular thing that's on the radio as though somehow I've chosen it.
Thank you, Dean. You're so kind.
All right. We're doing hugs already, are we?
Good acting. Right, okay. Now let's just press the info button. It should tell me a little bit about the station. So let's have a look. Let's press it again. It says it's Talk radio station. It's on BBC National DAB. It tells us the frequency and the signal error. So yeah, not a bad little DAB radio. It gives you all the information you need. Some of them don't tell you stuff like this is at 128 kilobits a second. And there's the time on the DAB radio. Notice we've also now pulled that time through to the clock. I didn't need to set that myself. There's the date. And that's the name of the programme, I think. It's all working fine, and the quality on it is surprisingly okay.
Zelensky personally by his foreign minister. So let's continue.
Do you think it will happen? Will it happen, a meeting between the two presidents?
Yeah, there's no burbling on there. So, you know what, I'm happy with that radio. So far, the sound seems okay. We haven't heard any music through this. The radio's working all right on DAB, the FM one. I was kind of forgetting rooms with lots of interference, so that's okay. Doesn't have a medium wave radio on this one here in the UK, but let's now move on to playing something on the CD. So that is one up. There we are. Let's pop something in here. So it's reading the CD. I like having the CD on display. That's quite nice. rather than being buried away behind a cover with no window on it. And it's playing now, so let's have a listen. I'd say let's have a listen. Nothing's happening. Oh, there we go. Honestly, at moderate volumes, that really doesn't sound bad at all. If I had this back in, I don't know, 1990, it'd be a bit unlikely to get all these components on there back then, but, you know, something with this performance as far as the audio goes and ability to play CDs, I think I would have been pretty happy with that. You might notice, though, these are backlit here. I don't know if you can see that. There we go, I think you can see it now. You'll notice there's not much movement out of them, even at this volume. Whereas on the radio, they were jumping about all over the show. That's maximum volume now. Bit of break up there, but I don't think it's oxidisation. Right, let's bring the lights back up. It does have a buffer in it, and the way you can tell is that every now and then the CD stops spinning, and yet the music carries on. I'm just waiting for it to stop to prove my point, and it's been spinning a little bit now, but while I'm sitting here, I've got to say, this sounds pretty good. I've heard a lot worse. Ah, there we go. I think it's stopping. Finally, I thought I was going mad. Okay, yeah, so you can see, disc has stopped. Track's still continuing. 2 minutes 28 seconds in. So let's see when it starts spinning up again. Okay, well that track's finished. The question is, has it read any of the next track, or will it have to spin up to start playing that one? Yeah, it's got to spin up. Okay. Well, it's some kind of energy saving feature. If you're running this off batteries, I'm sure you'd be happy that you could save any energy at all. But let's just stop that now, if I can find the stop button. I've got play and pause. I was just looking for stop, I suppose. Oh, there we are. It's on the left. Right. So we'll open that one up. And I just want to play something that's a bit more in keeping with a boombox. Yeah, you can feel that. That's pretty good. Now, here's where we're going to have problems, and this is where you should expect to have problems with the tape deck. I mean, first off, it's going to be terrible at doing recordings. I wouldn't recommend making recordings on this, but perhaps we should do one just to find out. But I think we just want to try the playback. Okay, so I recorded some YouTube audio library music on this. It's on a Chrome tape, but it should play back just fine without any issue. Well, I'll say just fine, about as well as any other tape of playing this thing, which is probably pretty bad, but we'll have a listen. Okay, turn the bass down a bit. All right. I'll say at least you've got bass and treble controls here, so if you do have something that's a bit out in the equalisation, you can adjust those to suit. It doesn't sound too bad, really. Of course, we've got no track skip, it's just a basic system here. Fast forward, rewind, etc. You can't just jump to the next track, but we'll see if we can skim through it with a fast forward. You notice there's a delay before the audio kicks in. Well, at least there was then. I think the trouble is with this, once you press stop, you powered down the device, and then pressing play powers it on again. So it takes a couple of seconds for it to get on. So if we just fast forward like so, we haven't pressed stop, we haven't powered it down, and then this will just start immediately. Alright, well, it seems to be working. I'm going to check the auto stop in a minute as well. I mean, that's a promised feature. We'll check it on fast forward and rewind, because quite often these things will auto stop on play, but not on either a fast forward or rewind. So we're reaching the end now, and any second now it's hitting the end, and right, we're there. Is it going to stop? No, it's not. Okay, so let's just try that on play. There we go, it's just getting the leader in and that's stopping. Okay, so let's flip it over. Fast forward a little bit and see if it auto stops on rewind. No. Okay, so we've learnt that. Auto stop on play only. Okay, I think we'll find a blank tape and try recording something. But before we do that, I just want to put a disc in here that has some text on it. We've got an MP3 CD in here. I just want to see what shows up on the display at the top. Okay, so just folder and track number. Right, now this button down here, which is labelled up as info for the DAB radio, and rep, which is no doubt repeat for the CD player, also has additional functions for this MP3. Let's just have a look. Okay, so you see where it says disc here. If we play the disc and then press that end button, that changes to show rep 1, which is no doubt repeating this one track over and over again. Press it again, repeat the directory, press it again, repeat everything. Random play, intro, which will play the intro to each track. Let's see how long it plays. It's probably going to be something like 10 seconds or 5 seconds, if we can get that off the screen. Oh, great, we didn't see it. That's the problem with that volume control. It really does blank this screen out a little bit too long. Anyway, we'll see it now. So 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 seconds of each track gets played when you've got it in that mode. And then we press it again, we're back to playing the whole disc. But we're not seeing any CD text or ID3 tags on this. Well, I haven't tried CD text. I very much doubt I'm going to see any. But I've got a CD here with some CD text on it, so let's just pop that in there. Now this is just a regular CD rather than an MP3 CD, and you can see here we've got the track number, and I'll press this M button again and we can do the same repeat functions here, repeat 1 or random, intro, or back to playing the whole disc. So let's try recording this CD to a tape and just see how, I can't say the word, how something poor that is going to sound. Okay, so I've got my blank tape. We'll just fast forward this a little bit. Notice we don't have a tape counter on here, so we're just going to have to rewind back to the beginning to listen to this. So we've got record pause on now, and we'll play the CD player. I suppose we have to go up into the CD mode to get that to work. Hold on, it's that one. It's hard to see on here exactly where your indicator is. Okay, well, we'll just start there. It's as good a place as any. Now again, of course, I can't affect this recording level. It's just doing an automatic level here. So I'll just let it run a couple of minutes and then we'll rewind and have a listen. Okay, I think that's enough, so we'll just stop it there and go back to the beginning. Now, the good thing with that track is that it was a piano track with a lot of sustain, so you'll be able to tell if this thing's got bad wow and flutter. Let's just have a listen. Wow, that sounds terrible. Listen to that. Absolutely awful. I honestly don't think I've ever made a worse recording in my life. It's a bit wobbly, but that's not the issue. It's that background noise. It's appalling. And there's like a heartbeat as well. Okay, look, if you get one of these things, do not use it to record onto. You'll regret it. However, if you stick in a tape that you've pre-recorded or bought from a shop with an album on it, you'd be quite happy, I think. Now, one thing I haven't used is this X bass button. I only noticed it a moment ago, so let's turn that on, see what difference it makes. Okay, it's rather subtle, and you notice it says X bass here, but then when I press it, it says normal or H bass on. What's H bass? Heavy bass? I don't know. Well, it adds a bit of bass to it, and it's not overpowering as well. Sometimes you press these bass buttons and they just ruin the sound. Just adds a bit of bass. Yeah, now you might have noticed I've got a USB stick plugged in here. To get to the USB, you move it to the top position, and that's auxiliary USB SD altogether. And it goes straight into trying to pair it with your phone, which I've already got my phone linked up with this, so that works. But if you want to go to the USB stick or the micro SD, you've got to press the mode button here. So press it once, we're onto the USB. If we had a micro SD in there, it would go to that as well. And
the right hand channel.
That's my stereo test.
Only be showing up on the right. This is a 320 kilobits per second MP3. This is a wave file.
So it's my file type test, my stereo test. Stereo's right, it's got the right audio coming out of the right channel. As far as the file type test goes, well, that can play MP3, FLAC, OGG, Vorbis, AIFF and WAVE. The only ones that this recognises off this USB stick are MP3 and WAVE. But it's a 320 kilobits a second MP3, sounds just fine. You can stick those on your SD card as well if you want. So that reminds me, now it's saying pair on the screen that we haven't demonstrated it. So we'll just do that now. Press play and it should be coming through. There we go. The information that shows on the screen, once this annoying volume information has disappeared, it says pair. That's it. I don't know if we can get anything else to show on there. No. That's your lot. Okay. But it will play back Bluetooth, no problem. And of course we've got the X bass here as well, which we were in that mode before. Yeah, it definitely adds a little bit to it. I think the only thing we haven't really tested out is the microphone. Okay, so I've got the mic plugged in, and the mic volume, as you can hear, is adjusting that over the speakers, but we're at absolute maximum now. Okay, so I've got the CD player going, and you can still hear my voice coming through the speakers. I've got the echo on, so you can recognise that. But we'll be getting this CD playing in a second, once I turn the volume up over here. And there we go. I think we've got both things going together. So yeah, you could use this as some kind of karaoke machine, I suppose. It's not particularly brilliant at it though. You could really do with having the mic go a little bit louder in comparison to the audio, because at maximum mic volume, which is on now, turn the volume up and you can't really hear anything. Okay, but yeah, it works. And we've got the echo, which we can turn off. Alright, not much more I can say about that. It's a feature, it works. It's not something that many people would want to use. Okay, I'll just play something from the micro SD card. You'll notice if I move the mode here, we go between the Bluetooth and the card starts playing automatically. SD is lit up next to the numbers there. You might be able to just make that out. And we get the usual controls here: play, fast forward, pause, etc. One thing I haven't done is mess around with this program button here. So if we press that, you can see perhaps on the screen there, it says memory, CD, program 1, track 1. So let's do track 3 as the first one. and then the second one we can go back to track 1, and then the third one will go to track 4. And I think that should do it now. If we press play, that should start working. So yeah, there we are. It's going to start off on track 3. And if we skip forward, it's actually going back to track 1. So yeah, that all works. It's very simple to operate as well. Now I've noticed over here we've got a record button. I presume that means you can record onto your USB stick. Let's give that a go. Okay, so we've got the radio playing now.
Of course, on my butt.
These seem to be most active when the radio's playing. Let's press record.
I just put my hand next to my butt in case somebody else touched me. I was ready with my hand.
There we are. USB's flashing.
Of course. So I grabbed the man's hand.
Now, I'd imagine it would show record when it's recording, but at the moment it's just showing USB flashing. There we go.
With my hand. And that happened, of course. So I grabbed the man's hand and I...
So it works, but
the fingers, and
that's a bit blown out.
Strength as I can. And of
course we can't affect the recording level. So, all right, you can record onto your USB stick, but again, might not be something you'd want to do given the results. I'd suggest this is not a box for recording anything. It's a playback device. The fact it has record buttons on it, just pretend they're not there. Now that's interesting. I've just plugged my headphones into it and I've noticed that there is a background noise on all the sources, all the inputs, as soon as the volume's turned up at all. When it's on 0, you don't hear anything. As soon as you turn this up, thereby activating the amplifier, you hear this hiss come through. So that must also be present on these speakers. I've just not noticed it in this environment. But once you start listening on the headphones, you start picking up on things like that. And yeah, there is a background hiss on the whole device as soon as the amplifier's on. I'll see if I can plug this into the camera and hopefully you can have a listen to that as well. Okay, so I think that came across on the camera there. It was that low down hiss, that kind of bed of white noise. And it comes in as soon as I turn the volume up past 0. So effectively, as soon as I turn the amplifier on, it's there. Now, it doesn't go any louder the more you turn the volume up, but it is noticeable through the headphones a lot more than it is through the speakers. I checked to see if it was present through these, and it is, but it's so low down on these. I mean, it's almost imperceptible. You've got to put your ear right up to them and you can just about make it out. But as soon as you turn the volume to a level where you can hear any of the audio sources coming through, it drowns that out. So yeah, I would suggest with this device, don't buy it if you plan on listening through headphones. Okay, it's the next morning, and at the moment I'm running a tape through for a test I'm going to do in a bit. I'll explain more in a second, but I've noticed the time up here says it's 6 minutes past midnight. It's not, it's 8:30 in the morning, 007 now. So it's not James Bond o'clock. What's actually happening is this thing has forgotten the time. And that's not great, is it? I mean, it'll remember it again once I put it into the DAB mode and put a station on, but wouldn't you have thought that would have remembered it? I did switch it off at the back, but that's what you do, innit? You won't leave it on standby all the time. I suppose if it's got batteries in it, it'll keep the clock time from there. But anyway, no, the reason I'm running this tape through is I just want to play it through a couple of times just to get the tape deck up to speed, because so far it's only played a little bit. If we give it like a, say, 2-3 hours of play, and then I'll do the wow and flutter test and the speed test. Okay, so it's a good result really for this mechanism, not as bad as it could be anyway. If we start on the right here, we've got this set to 1%, so we're looking at the top row and you'll see that needle bouncing around at about the 0.2% mark, so 0.2% wow and flutter. I mean, you get your good old cassette decks from the glory days, your proper hi-fi ones, and they're 0.0 something %. But for a boombox, with this mech, that is not bad at all. I've seen them a lot worse than that. And you'd probably just about be able to make that out on some music, but on a lot of music, perhaps not. Now, moving over to this side, Well, this is the speed. I've got it set to 3%, so we're looking at the bottom row, and you'll see the needles hanging around at just over perhaps 1% fast. Now again, with tape decks you can adjust the speed if you really want to disassemble them and get inside and twiddle a little screw on the motor, but I'd suggest at 1% fast it wouldn't be worth your effort. So yeah, that's fine as well. Overall, not a bad result for a mechanism like this. Okay, hands up, who wants to have a look inside this? Nobody? Well, never mind, we'll have a look anyway. Plenty of screws to take out. Give me a minute. Right, that's it. All the screws out. Took me about 10 minutes. Something's still holding it a little bit. Just a matter of unclipping a few things, I think. There we go. Right. Okay, I think we'll unplug that one. Right, so it all unplugs. Let's just take that off there. Yeah, not much going on in that part of it. We've just got the power supply and then those base ports. And you'll see on the other side of those, we've got a covering on them just to make sure the thing gets inside. So let's have a look in here now, see what we got. Okay, now first off, I think most of the weight I was experiencing was coming from these speakers. They really are quite substantial, and they've got an all-metal body on there. And they didn't sound half bad either. And look at this, bit of a surprise. We have a tweeter, yeah. They're widening a tweeter behind the tweeter grill. Wonders will never cease. But looking around this, I can't tell you an awful lot more about it. You can see here, we're just dealing with a sandwich of circuit boards. There's a chip on there. You probably can't read that, so it says ALI M5673D. But yeah, I mean, it's all just stuff in it, wired together. But it's nice to see that they're all unpluggable, these. The drive there for the cassette deck is a little bit difficult to get to. It's just underneath this circuit board. I don't know if you could replace that belt without taking all this out. You might have a good go at it though. You could adjust the speed on the motor by twiddling that with a screwdriver if you wanted to. It's the same old cassette deck mech. We're seeing plenty of other things. Nothing unusual about that. We do have a metal flywheel on the underside of this plastic wheel. Some model numbers there that might refer back to something. But if we flip that the other way up, we can see the model of this is LT, DAB, 19, etc. The LT, does that stand for Leo Tech? Would that mean that this is their own circuit board? I think it probably would. So it looks like at least this part is an in-house component. That's pretty much all I can tell you about this. So let's get the screws back in the case, put it back together again, and do a bit of a roundup. You know, as a product category, the Boombox, it's a pretty low bar. There's a reason why companies are still selling these things nowadays. It's because they're not too difficult to make or assemble from ready-made components. If you were to ask any of the companies that are selling these things, could they manufacture you a brand new high-end standalone hi-fi cassette deck, something that could rival the very best decks from say 1990 from Pioneer, Technics and Sony, they wouldn't have a clue. People tend to forget that the average boombox of the past was a very mediocre affair, which is how they're able to make something nowadays which has roughly the same performance. I mean, if you were to take your £190 back in time to 1990, that is worth
£76.38.
And you take it to Argos, well, you have to go to £99, and then you get a choice of a few different models from Sharp, Hitachi and JVC. None of them are particularly outstanding. They're all twin tape models. They've got your regular tuner, your analog tuner, not a digital one. Of course, no CD on there. In fact, the Sharp one that's there, the twin tape deck, that is one that is very similar to a model that I showed in a video a year or so ago. So that's what you got back in 1990. And yet on this, okay, you don't get your twin tape decks, although there is a Leotech model that will give you those and drop the CD player. But as far as this one goes, yeah, You get a single tape deck, you get a CD player, you get a FM radio tuner, and then you get your DAB radio here in the UK and no doubt in some other countries as well. You get Bluetooth, MP3 playback. Yeah, I think this isn't all that bad value for money. Yeah, it's not a quality device, but just never mind the quality, feel the width. However, if you want something with the quality of the JVC M90, well, you're just not going to get it nowadays. But also bear in mind that if you put the price of that from 1983 into an inflation calculator, well, it's $1,800 US or 1,300 UK pounds, roughly. Well, how many people will be prepared to pay that for a device that just has a single cassette deck and a radio? But if there's one little bit of advice that I'd like to just reiterate at the end here, is that you should expect all these devices to be roughly similar. I mean, you'll have different levels. Obviously, the more you pay, hopefully it'll sound a little bit better. This has decent quality speakers in it. I like the sound of the speakers, but most of the other components it probably shares with some very cheap devices. It's not like the old days where you get Sony versus JVC versus Hitachi versus Sharp versus Panasonic, and they're all trying to make as much of the stuff in-house as they can and outdo each other. No, what's happening here is you might get these little operations set it up and they're just all raiding the same AliExpress parts bin. So most of the devices are sharing pretty much the same components. That said, you could make a better model than this. There's certainly room for improvement, but as far as the sound quality goes on this, it'll probably tick the boxes for most people. And bear in mind, it's got more features and it probably sounds better than your old boombox that cost the equivalent amount back in 1990. So it ticks the nostalgia box, but just bear in mind, it is what it is. It isn't what it isn't. And if you think it is what it isn't, well, you're not thinking about who made it, how it was made, and what price they made it for. Anyway, that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.